Hey guys, welcome back. I hope you're all doing well. Today I wanted to switch up the background a little here simply because I was getting a little bored of my shelves back there, and also I didn't feel like fighting with the setting sunlight. So hopefully this works for you guys. It's super easy for me. I'm just sitting on the floor all casual like. Today I wanted to round up March 2018 for you guys, and while I normally start off these videos with my content, today I wanted to start off with my kind of life event for the month because I feel like it really informs how the rest of my month ended up going. The kind of life change that occurred in March was that I got a new part-time job, which means that I am no longer working 100% freelance. I still have kept my freelance work, so I'm working as a technical writer a couple of days a week, still going to his office, and I am still doing the occasional article for April magazine. However, during those other 3 days of the week, I am now an official office worker. I have an 8:30 to 5 o'clock job in which I go into an office and, you know, do office work and stuff. Actually, what I'm doing at this job is not all that dissimilar from what I do as a freelance technical writer. I just also do some administrative work. So far, I have to say, I'm really liking the office environment. All the people are very nice, and I just feel very, very fortunate that this came along when it did. And I'm also really glad that I have these monthly roundup videos in which I can talk about this job change, because ever since I knew I was going to be starting this job, I felt like I needed to make some kind of a video about it, almost like I needed to justify to you guys why I was no longer working 100% freelance. Logically, I know that I don't owe anyone any kind of explanation, but because I did that whole week of freelance videos, I didn't want people to think that I was promoting a lifestyle or romanticizing a lifestyle that I couldn't make sustainable for myself. So let me just kind of put this out there, just, you know, not for you necessarily, more to ease my own conscience. I do still think that freelancing is a viable lifestyle. I think it's a great way to work, and personally, I loved freelancing. Like, if I could do that, you know, for the rest of my life, I totally would. However, one thing I did touch on in those videos is that as a freelancer, you definitely need to constantly be evaluating your current life situation, your responsibilities, your expense needs, you know, your social needs, your mental and physical health, that sort of thing. So doing that evaluation myself, there were kind of two things I realized. Number one, I really needed a more steady stream of income, and just, you know, really taking a look at myself and my work ethic and like what I wanted to accomplish. I knew I wasn't going to be the kind of freelancer that would go out hustling and pitching, and, you know, that wasn't the kind of work I was doing. The other thing I really have realized about myself over the past year or so is that I do suffer from some social anxiety, and I really like to isolate myself, and that working freelance was kind of enabling me to isolate myself even further. So yes, the steady paycheck really does help me out, but what also helps me out is being forced to interact with people every day. You know, going into a place where I report to two different people and, you know, have to sit in on meetings and take calls and go do errands, and it's just, it's actually really good for me. It's very exhausting, but it's very good for me, and I'm really glad that I decided to make the switch. Obviously, I'm not a full-time office worker yet, but I am very glad that this job came about, and I just wanted to share it with you and explain a little my thought process. Anyways, a part-time job may not seem like it should be that big of a life change, but honestly, because going from working full-time freelance to having a 8:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. job is so very different, it kind of threw everything up in the air. My schedule is completely off now. My sleep pattern is like all over the place. If you follow me on Instagram, you know that for a while I was trying to even out my sleep pattern, and I'm getting there, but it's still not great. Because my routine and my sleep schedule is off, I've been super, super exhausted, and I think because of, again, forced interaction with humans, that just always exhausts me. Generally speaking, I've spent a lot of March feeling very drained, very happy, but very drained at the same time, so I did not make nearly as much content as I wanted. I barely read anything, like barely. I'm actually listening to the audiobook version of Bad Feminist by Roxane Gay, and I'm really enjoying that so far, but that's kind of the only reading I've done. I haven't been able to bring myself to pick up an actual book. Of the content that I did make in March, a lot of it was pre-filmed before I ended up starting the job, so I made my February roundup, of course, which was a lot of fun, given all of my weird dancing antics. Like, I don't know where any of that came from, but I was just feeling it on the day, apparently. I also finally made a recent reads video in which I talked about all of the nonfiction I've been reading this year. Still haven't really finished anything fiction-wise, but I'm still digging into the nonfiction. Then I also made a video on my bad reading habits, which I didn't think you guys would enjoy quite as much as you did, but it seems that a lot of us have the same bad reading habits. Ebooks seem to be kind of a kicker for a lot of people, so I'm glad you guys really enjoyed that video, and I hope I can break some of those habits moving forward. I also put up a film discussion of the anime film Miss Hokusai, and I have to say that video I have such mixed feelings on. First of all, I ended up with 45 minutes worth of footage when I sat down to film that video, so cutting it down to something viewable was hell. I'm just gonna put it out there. It was super, super hard. That being said, I really loved getting back into discussing anime, and hopefully I will do that more in the future. I don't ever see myself doing more critical, like live action film reviews, simply because I don't feel educated enough in film, but after doing the full Year of Miyazaki project that I did in 2016? I really love discussing anime. I love that I get to talk about art style and music, and yeah, I don't know, I want to do more of those in the future. And actually, speaking of anime, it made a real comeback in my life this March. Like I said, I haven't really been reading it all. I have not picked up a single physical book all month long, but when I was getting home, I was sitting down and like dedicating myself. Not dedicating myself because I was brain dead, but I was absorbing that anime. I actually ended up bringing back my Crunchyroll subscription, so I'm sure I will have more anime to talk about as the year goes on, but today I wanted to just mention two shows that I really, really loved in March. The first anime I watched in March was Silver Spoon, and actually, if you don't have a Crunchyroll account, never fear, because if you live in the US, it's currently available on Netflix. Silver Spoon is a slice of life anime set in an agricultural high school, and it follows a young man named Hachiken who ran away from his prep school in Sapporo, Hokkaido to, you know, just kind of completely escape and become a different person at this agricultural high school. He's a complete farming noob, so nobody really understands what exactly he's doing there. It's just clear that he wanted to get away from what he was doing before. He wanted to get away from his family, and he just kind of is this ridiculous figure that is floundering around because he has no idea what he's doing. There are a couple of things I loved about Silver Spoon. Number one, it is a slice of life anime. Now, if you know anything about my like live action show choices, you know that I generally go for crime, but for some reason when it comes to anime, I love that slice of life. The second thing I really loved about Silver Spoon is that it is hilarious. Like, I honestly don't remember the last time I laughed that hard watching a TV show. I mean, there are some real classic kind of anime absurd moments, but just the witticism of it, the funny, like, I don't even know how to describe it. It made me laugh quite a bit, and it was kind of exactly what I needed at the end of a mentally draining day. And the third thing that I really liked about Silver Spoon is that it is a funny show, but it has such heart. You know, it really looks at what it's like to be a child from an agricultural family, you know, the pressure of always assuming that you have to take over the family business, the fact that farming isn't necessarily the most lucrative business, and especially as things modernize and mega farms pop up and things, you know, what happens to the small mom and pop farms. It deals a lot with things that even as somebody going into their late 20s, I can still really identify with, like trying to figure out what exactly you want to do with your life, like what is your dream, what is your goal, what do you do if life puts obstacles in front of that goal. All in all, I would highly recommend it. The other anime I watched in March was actually a rewatch for me, and that was Barakamon. Did I pronounce that right? Barakamon? I don't know, I'll put the thing here. Again, this is a slice of life show about a calligrapher who kind of has a tantrum at a calligraphy competition, punches a judge, and then gets exiled to this super rural little island by his father. Again, it's a case of city boy meets rural life and has no idea what he's doing, which apparently is something I enjoy quite a lot. The calligrapher in question is 20-something-year-old Seishu Handa, who all of the villagers call sensei because he's actually quite a famous calligrapher. However, on the island that doesn't really matter, and basically he spends most of his time hanging out with a bunch of kids, one of which is a young girl who's probably about 7 or 8, called Naru, who doesn't have any parents. She lives with her grandfather and ends up spending most of the summer annoying Sensei. Barakamon is funny, though it's not quite as funny as Silver Spoon, but my personal favorite humor was the BL humor, the boys love humor. I think the message of Barakamon is really, it's an artist's journey, you know, it's a look at where do we get inspiration and what is art? Is art imitation or is art, you know, pure self-expression? And it's all packaged up in a very cute, easy to watch, funny anime. So that was the anime I really enjoyed watching in March. And aside from that, kind of the only other thing I did entertainment-wise was play Stardew Valley. One of the benefits of not doing quite as much freelance work is that I actually have a few hours in the evenings now where I can just relax and I don't have to feel guilty that I'm not doing homework or, you know, work at home. I could just relax. And so in those relaxation hours, I've been playing Stardew Valley. Not super good at it yet, not super far along, but I'm really enjoying it and plan to continue playing. So that is my very rambly roundup of March 2018, and hopefully you guys gleaned some little bit of something from this. Hopefully you guys were looking for slice of life anime, because I feel like that's all I had to offer you today. Anyways, I just wanted to say a quick thank you to you guys for sticking with me. I know that my uploading has been a bit sporadic lately, and I know you guys really want more book-related reviews and discussions and wrap-ups and things, but I haven't wanted to force them since I'm not actually reading. I feel like I would rather hold off on the book content and make good book content than, you know, force it when I'm not feeling it. And that's actually probably a great place to end it. So thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you are having a fantastic day, and I will see you next time. Bye!